Hey YouTube, welcome back to our channel. My name is Elena.
And I'm Bjorn.
And we are Viking Age reenactors and living historians here to talk with you about your favorite Viking shows.
Today we're taking an in-depth look at Ragnarok Season 2, Episode 2.
Loki wasn't really... He was seen as a mischievous god, and certainly not one of the best ones.
Yeah, he was a trickster and everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't place him as a demonic character in the myths.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he wasn't seen as, like, a demon necessarily. Like, I think he's kind of the butt of the jokes in our modern telling of these tales and everything, but, like, Loki is essentially just like a figure of chaos. Mm-hmm. And like through that chaos comes order, just like in the natural world, you know, things just line up in a completely haphazard random way. And then from that, like, we kind of create patterns and order from the randomness. And I think he's kind of like that same figure in Norse mythology, you know, like without Loki's ridiculous behavior, the gods wouldn't have half of the things that they own, you know?
Exactly.
They wouldn't have a fortified Asgard. You wouldn't have Sleipnir, wouldn't have Mjolnir, wouldn't have so many things. And it's all thanks to Loki being a chaotic figure.
Exactly, yeah. He screws up so much, and then he goes out and finds ways to fix it, ultimately.
Yeah.
But kind of in his own way, while pissing somebody else off in the process.
Pretty much. Yeah. Somebody is always getting antagonized by Loki in one way or another. Whether it's just the initial action or whether it's through the reciprocation of like resolving that first up and then somebody else gets screwed through that. So it's like it's just this constant like revolving door of getting like smacked in the face.
And I think in the slight Christianization of the Norse mythology, we got the whole notion of, you know, Loki being the fire god, which would allude to the Christian hell and
being associated.
Like that.
Yeah, being associated as he kind of gave birth to the world serpent, getting associated with snakes and the devil and stuff. So he became like this very diabolical figure.
Exactly.
As that kind of emerged, and that's just, it's such like a simplified, watered down version of his existence, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And others. That said, I think this is the first time I've ever seen somebody actually say that he is the blood brother of Odin.
That was really cool.
Finally, somebody had the courage to say the truth, and I'm so glad about it.
So Loki fathered 3 children, as we kind of know of them now as the Chaos Monsters. So there was Jörmungandr, the serpent that circles the world. There is Hel, who ruled Helheim in her own right. And then there was Fenrir, the giant wolf that was bound up in chains. Now, he also mothered Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse that he gave to Odin as a present.
It's a man of culture. Yeah, and that's kind of an interesting thing too, because we always think of like the 3 evil children of Loki and Angrboda.
The children of chaos.
Yeah, essentially. And like you kind of forget that like not all of his children are evil. Like there's the one. It's like that awkward like family get together of like all the family just sitting there like being all moody and angsty or like causing problems, and then Sleipnir's just like, I'm having a great time. I love you, Dad.
And that's also kind of why I am enjoying their portrayal of Laurits here, essentially, where he kind of swings both ways, because Loki was very much a fluid character, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, even just the story with like Thor's wedding too, like did not hesitate to be a handmaiden. Yep. You know, it was just like, yep, I'm in it. I'm in this. We're doing it.
Yep.
Det viktigste for meg er at du vet at jeg aldri angret på deg. Og jeg vil at vi skal være en familie, og jeg...
So it is kind of interesting, too, to me, that Loki originally was the blood brother of Odin, as we've discussed a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And now he is the son of Vidar. Vidar is basically the new Odinic figure, I want to say. Not in the sense that he is now Odin, but he is the one that was supposed to rise up and rule after Ragnarok happened.
Right.
So he is the new top dog, essentially, when it comes to godlike figures.
Right. Which is interesting, too, because we've talked about this with Season 1, but, like, Vidar himself was not a Jotun.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of Odin's many children, and was actually the one who avenged Odin's death and killed Fenrir.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so his character as being a Jotun and fighting the gods is kind of, it's still very kind of unique to me, I guess, or very, like, interesting.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Turid sier og fortalte meg at jeg faren til hennes yngste sønn.
Hva?
Laurits?
Ja.
Er hun ute etter penger, eller hva da? Det er jo noe å finne på, det er jo helt klart.
Magne Seier helt knust på grunn av dette her. Han har mistet en bror. Men vi har fått en sønn. Vi kan få over på vår side. Vi har fått en mann i fiendens leir. Han har kanonføde. Jeg bryr meg jo ikke om Laurits.
There it is.
Okay.
Hvordan har han hatt det i det siste? Har han forandret noe av det han gjør?
Når du sier det, så har han faktisk vært litt rar i det siste. Han startet hver morgen med å spise havregryn. Det er veldig rart, for han er jo egentlig cornflakes-typen.
So Vidar is really gunning to have him part of their family clan, essentially. They had just lost Fjord, basically. He left a family, and now Vidar is seeing Laurits as sort of like that filler, I guess, of the character who can come in and help them.
Yeah.
I don't think he really sees him as somebody that could be part of the family long term.
Yeah.
Maybe, but somebody that can come in and at least fill that gap while they need it because they got to fight Magni.
Yeah, essentially. Like, I mean, Vidar said it himself. He has no care or genuine interest in Laurits as a son or as a part of the family. Like, he just sees him as a usable pawn. All the more so because it creates more conflict for Magna.
Exactly.
You know, having to potentially fight his own brother, and they can just capitalize on that and then dispose of Laurits afterwards whenever they kind of decide to.
Yeah, I don't know if that's 100% true, because he was also saying that to Ron, who was incredibly jealous of the fact that he bettered another woman.
I mean,
human at that.
Yeah, and, like, that's another thing. Like, I feel like we're kind of leaning in too much into the idea of just, like, oh, the impossible happened. Like, I'm very much questioning if Turid is something.
Yeah, if she's actually a human, or if she is in her own right some kind of a god-like figure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, she is, like, a very, like, gentle kind of caring person. She's a little bit, like, passive and just, like, accepting immediately of most things. And it's kind of interesting because it almost reminds me of, like, a very, like, placated, like, Frigg or Idun kind of character. Of just, like,
I can kind of see that.
being there and being, like, a very motherly, loving kind of woman. So I don't know, it's just an interesting thought at the very least.
She's so chill about everything. And just, like, there has to be something going on in this lady's head that we're not aware of.
Seriously, and, like, even with Laurits in the last episode, just being like, yeah, you know, I'd just throwing a party and having a bunch of people over. Oh, okay, that's nice. Oh, Mom, you know, I invited this guy because I really want to hook up with this guy. Oh, so sweet. Like,
that's nice, honey.
What a mom.
Yeah.
Like, if she's not a goddess, she should be, because she's an absolute delight. Yeah. She just tries so hard to give her sons a good life, and I love her for it. She's the best character in this whole show.
Dette Ginnungagap-fjellet. Et gammelt land, Laurits.
Ginnungagap. It was the eternal void before Midgard and the other realms were formed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's literally is the yawning void. Vikings had it right.
Yeah, seriously.
Literally, there was a void, and then nothing existed in the void, and then things existed in the void. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, yep, checks out. Yep, that's pretty much what happened. We have a zero positive universe, so that's exactly how it works.
anyone who's in Norway, because I'm actually not sure about this myself, is there a mountain called Ginnungagap, or is that something that they just made up for the show? I'm curious.
I think there is a mountain range.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that there is one. Harry is his name.
I guess.
I got you a secret gift, but you don't know what it is.
Jeg gjorde litt ekstra,
Oh,
ekstra
boy.
greier også. Jeg graverte inn Midtgardsormen. Nå er den din.
The world serpent, or what he says is the world serpent, that is added to the center of the Mjolnir, that is actually called an Ouroboros, and it is very much symbolic of beginning and end, and
Yeah.
constant continuation.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
things.
Even in the mythology, it talks about Jormungandr like biting its own tail and stuff, being wrapped around the earth, and like his doing so kind of keeps the oceans at bay.
Exactly.
And then like those tsunamis and crazy storms and stuff are supposedly when he lets go of his tail to eat or to hunt or to fight Thor.
Thrash around a little
Thrash around, just this is where I thrash. And then he bites his tail again, and you see that kind of that symbolism replicated a lot in many different cultures. Bye.
And it's gone. Use the force, Magna.
Nei, vi kan ikke sitte her og blande. Vi må gå og finne den. Kom igjen, Kabanna.
Called it that just having a random auto body mechanic weld some metal together wouldn't create Mjolnir.
Yep.
If that was the case, I would have had Mjolnir when I was like 15. Who would have thought it takes a little bit more effort to make a magical ancient god weapon? Since they didn't get the hammer forged, I'm hoping we get a forging episode, and I hope that we get to see the story in the mythology kind of played out a little bit more. Getting actual magical items forged and doing some cool things, because the story of how Mjolnir is forged is not only awesome but hilarious.
And of course involves Loki.
And of course involves Loki.
But yeah, I mean, the dude kind of like running up with a hammer in tow and being like, here you go,
Yeah.
did not make me believe that was actually going to be the hammer of Thor.
Yeah, exactly.
In any way.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I just saw those cool little lightning bolt, 12-year-old lightning bolts kind of drawn into it, I was like, okay.
He really tried for it.
I mean, I said it...
You got to give him credit. He really, really tried.
Skal ikke gi oss uten kamp.
Kom igjen, Robin.
Hvem har sagt at jeg er Batman?
Iman is really coming into herself, I feel like. I liked her better this episode than the first episode, even though she was still kind of prancing around being like, I got all this free shit. I feel like she's becoming a little bit more relatable after that fact.
Yeah, like she's starting to like slowly understand like the significance or the importance of it. It's not just like a novelty thing that she can take advantage of to get what she wants. Like there's a greater purpose to it.
Yeah, and she's standing by Magna and just kind of waiting for him to figure his shit out.
Yeah.
So that she can just do her part in all of this.
Yeah, or even just like to get more information so that she has more direction too with it, because she's kind of like we're all kind of waiting on Magna a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's that leader who just needs to like figure out what's going on and then give the orders, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder how she's gonna come into play with the forging of Mjolnir.
Så vi blir drept med.
Ikke akkurat i dag.
So we got a little bit of like a romantic thing going on now with Saxa and Magna.
Yeah.
While I'm here for it to see how it develops, I do just want to say that if any girl who had tried to kill me with a track and field spear and through an ancient cult-like family of my sworn arch nemesis came down, started being flirty by flashing a credit card when I thought she was going to pull a gun, and then ate my burger, I would beat her. We would fight right then and there.
No one eats Thor's burgers.
Nobody touches my goddamn food. That is a step too far. He was like into it, and I was kind of hoping that as soon as she grabbed his burger, he would have been like... So it does have interesting historical context, because we've long said that, talked about Magna being Thor's son, and as we're kind of going through this, it seems more and more that he's really just taking on the embodiment of Thor himself.
Exactly.
Which is a cool dynamic. But the interesting thing historically, or at least mythologically, is that Thor had 2 wives. The famous one that we all know about is Sif. But his first wife was actually a giantess named Járnsaxa. And she was actually the one who with Thor gave birth to his 2 sons, Magni and Modi, strength and courage. So it is interesting that we're seeing a little bit of this interaction and this kind of flirtatious behavior between the Thor-like character and
the character named Saxa.
And the character named after his first wife. Which is really weird, and I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm not sure if she's being actually genuine or if she's just trying to manipulate him. I'm kind of thinking that she's trying to manipulate him because she's always been like really gung-ho about getting him killed and being violent and taking up the family business and everything else and doing the right thing for the giants and stuff. So it seems really weird that she would just all of a sudden flip and like be all like lovey-dovey with him.
Yeah, it is.
I definitely think she's trying to play him.
It is a little bit interesting to me. But like also on the other hand, as I'm watching her in this episode and last episode as well, this season in general, she has a brother that just left the family, and she is trying to get more involved in a family business, and as she's trying to do that, her father basically just kind of brushing her aside. Like, she's trying to grow up and be the responsible person, and he's just like, yay, I'll take care of it,
Yeah.
Just pat on the head. And I think that's really starting to, or at least I know it would with me. That would kind of mess with me. And on top of that, because she is learning about the family business, she may be realizing certain things that have been going on behind the scenes that she just was not aware of. We've already seen how she prefers to do things differently than her father in talking with the environmental agency and their lawyer, and how she is now handling the PR debacle that's happening right now, as opposed to Vidar going out and being like, no comment. She's like, wouldn't it make more sense for us to like take a little bit of that responsibility and talk about it?
Yeah.
And be a little bit more open about it?
Yeah, and kind of like show like a little bit of sympathy and like actually make people want to like us somewhat.
Yeah. And then she has Ron on her other shoulder basically saying that a woman cannot lead the family, which also, has got to screw somebody's brain.
Yeah.
So I think you might be right in that she is messing with Magna in this moment, but I don't know if that's going to continue much further.
Yeah.
I think she's going to wake up and realize that maybe Fjord had a point.
Hei.
Dere, jeg vekker når jeg kommer tilbake.
Whoa.
Hilarious, that thing. Is actually a pretty good descriptor for Loki.
Hva skal jeg gjøre da?
Det finnes en ild som fortsatt brenner fra gamle tider der. Jeg er ikke alene. Jeg har blitt sett. Du må gå.
He shouldn't be there.
So are we to assume that fire that is in their house is the ever-burning flame where they have to forge Mjolnir?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
That's gonna be tough.
That's gonna be real tough. And also,
excuse us, let us borrow your house for like a few hours?
Yeah,
Is that cool?
Do you mind? I just need to make a WMD to kill you all with. That's all. I'll be out of your hair in just a minute.
Or can he just like take the flame and then carry it with him?
Yeah, I mean, like, can he just take a portion of the flame and just kind of keep that lit? like a like smoldering and then use that to create his own hearth somewhere else, like to
Right.
duplicate it? Or does that fire like come from somewhere like further underground that they have to go to the source of it, maybe? I don't know. We in the trailer we got a scene of the mechanic smithing, you know,
And it looked
forging
like-
the hammer.
It looked like it was
And-
over that pit.
yeah, if I'm thinking back, it very well might be. So this is gonna be interesting. Maybe Magna's gonna try to use Laurits to get Vidar and the family out of the house so they can go in and use it or something. Like trying to also use Laurits to manipulate the family, just like Vidar's trying to use Laurits to manipulate Magna's family. So there's gonna be a lot of
back and forth.
yeah. And then Laurits is gonna be so happy because he's just like in the middle of it all.
Basically, though.
And he's going to be able to play the game however he wants. Season 2 highlight.
And
Yes.
Chris Angel.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Queen.
What?
So extra. Oh my god.
Någonting. Ron.
Herregud.
Akkurat nå så er du på vei ned for å kverke kassadama på Spar.
Loris is already figuring out that Vidar definitely wants dirt on Magna, and
Yeah.
he's not having any of it so far.
Yeah.
We'll see exactly how things turn out afterwards. It was really interesting that he told Magna that Ron was on her way to kill Lynch.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows that he is still on Magna's side,
Yeah, exactly.
even
And
after he saw his Chris Angel self and all that. So he knows he's a giant. He knows that he's a part of all of this.
Yeah,
that
and, like-
Magna wasn't going crazy.
yeah, exactly. Like he knows that everything that Magna's been talking about is legitimately happening. You know, it is real and substantial. And I think it is a great way to use like that Loki character of like literally being there while your newly found father tells your brother, if you come back, I'm going to kill you. And he still stands with Vidar, but also is helping Magna.
Right.
Like he's not abandoning either person. He's finding a way to like navigate both sides essentially. And that is classic Loki.
Yeah, and I think some of that might also, in the end, come down to him being that spy on the inside. As Vidar said, he could be,
Yeah, but for who?
but for who?
Hva skal du gjøre?
Whoa.
Thanos? So I really want to just see them completely make the connection between this and like the Marvel universe. I think that'd just be hysterical. She was just gonna die normally, and then like her last moments of death, Thanos snapped his fingers, and then
Ah.
she just melted away into dust. Didn't Thor retire in like a little Viking Norwegian village?
Yep.
Like what was it called? Was it called Edda or Saga or something like that?
I can't remember what it was called, but it was just like a village that the Asgardians basically took over and made their own home in. But I can't remember exactly what it
I mean, it
was.
was just like this little quaint, like, village by the water. So now he unites with the giants to fight Thanos.
I see.
Okay, yep.
Gotcha.
Hva skjedde med den snille gamle?
Roll credits. Okay.
That's the first time that ever worked. It still is really strange though, because like even at this last scene, like he was the one who asked, like, what happened to that old nice lady? Like he still kind of seems like out of it, and maybe
Yeah,
he just
but-
has to put on the necklace or something, and he gets his powers or kind of
Yeah.
realizes what's going on. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that once he sits with the amulet and gives it a, kisses it or whatever, like it's the power and the memories and everything is gonna come back to him.
Give a little smooch.
Yeah, give it a little
Give a
kiss.
Super. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to find out. I'm sure it's going to happen really quickly next episode too, because that's right where we left off. So
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of our future videos, and we'll see you in the next one.